Hello, welcome to my masterclass. And today we're talking about the new Companies and Allied Matters Act and the controversies it's stirring. Now, there's a famous saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, there is nothing under the current CAMA that prevents the Nigerian government from investigating churches and then from putting procedures to make sure that there are no financial misappropriations. There is nothing under the existing CAMA that stops that. As a matter of fact, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is already probing a number of pastors. They've sent some to jail. A good example is Pastor Samuel Afolabi of Living Faith Christian Church, headed by Bishop David Oyedepo. You know, he was reported, he was investigated, he was persecuted. So there is nothing under the current CAMA. So we're asking now, why are they bringing in these new provisions to forcefully appoint trustees for churches? A certain high-flying pastor made reference to the case of David Yonggi-cho in South Korea and how he was investigated and then he was arrested and convicted and sentenced. No, you see, you're talking about oranges and apples. You know, that's a function of ignorance. You see, I know of David Yonggi-cho's issue because that is a man that I really admire a lot. In Yonggi-cho's case, it was elders within the church who filed a petition with the government and asked for his own investigation and prosecution. It wasn't outside forces coming into the church. It was internal churches. So you see, if you read scripture already put internal procedures in churches to make them free from these kinds of practices. So you see, if you read Timothy chapter 1 verses 5 to 9, Titus chapter 1 verses 5 to 9. You see, it gives qualifications of a church elder. Qualifications of a church elder. And it says that these church elders are meant to look into the activities of the church. You know, they are meant to check the pastor to make sure that you don't have this kind of financial infractions. And then if you read the letters of Paul, it talks about the qualifications of an elder and of a bishop and of a deacon. These are people who are not meant to love money. And if you see that they love money, the scripture says that you remove them. So the church has its own internal procedures. So we don't really need this. You know, I see some other people talking about what happens in the United States and the United Kingdom. I schooled in the United Kingdom. I have a Master's of Law from the UK. I worked in the British Parliament. I live in the United States. I also pastor the church in Nigeria and in the US, so I know how this operates. In the UK and in the US, churches are not automatically charities. They apply to be charities. In America, it's called their section, I think it's a 503 1C. And then in the UK, they've got the provisions where churches apply to be charities. And when you apply to be charities, you're given certain concessions by the government. The government gives you money. You're allowed to raise money from the public. And so, because of these concessions, then the government is justified in appointing trustees in these cases. Now, in the US and the UK, you can be a church and refuse and say you don't want to be a charity and then operate just as a church, and then the government is not going to do that to you. They have no business with you. So if the Nigerian government wants to do like what the US and UK government are doing, then they should go the whole hog. They should fund these churches. They should give them monies. They should fund them, and then only when you're funding them should you have power to say, okay, I'm going to appoint trustees. But in a case where you're not funding them and then you want to appoint trustees, now it doesn't hold water, especially with the history of Muhammadu Buhari. I mean, if you don't know this, Muhammadu Buhari has an Islamist history, an Islamist agenda. And this is a fact. I'm going to quote something that he said. This is a direct quote. You can Google it. Please do not take my word for it. You need to research this. He said, I will continue to show openly and within me total commitment to the Sharia movement now sweeping all around this country. He said that in 2001. Now, he became president, and what has happened? We've seen a complete imbalance in Nigeria's military and security forces in favor of northern Muslim males. The Minister of Defense, the Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Air Staff, Head of the Police, Head of the DMI, Head of the DIA, Head of the NIA, Head of the ESCC, Head of the NCS, the NPS, the NCS, and a host of other military and paramilitary bodies are headed by northern Muslim males. Now, this is creating such an imbalance, and when you have a man who has said such things in the past, who has such an Islamic agenda, and then coming up with this kind of law, which is targeted at churches, it is suspicious. Already today, the Christian people in Nigeria are under some heavy persecution in the Middle Belt. If you read CBN News, they came out with a report today. It's on my Twitter feed. You can read that, stating that they have evidence that the Nigerian government of General Muhammadu Buhari gives cover for Muslim herdsmen to kill Christians. So when you have this kind of situation and then you have this kind of government coming up with this obnoxious law, it raises suspicion. We do not need this. It is not necessary. And I call on every Nigerian, both Muslim and Christian, because I've read the Quran. I understand Islam. You know, you have to understand the history of Islam. Without Christianity, without what Christians did for Muslims in Ethiopia, current day Ethiopia, giving them asylum when the Quraysh tribe wanted to destroy them in Mecca, there wouldn't be Islam today. If you are a Muslim and you don't know about that, it's unfortunate. Go and study your history. We should live in peace. We should coexist. And this law is a threat to our peaceful coexistence. My name is Reno Omokri. You can send me an email, info@renoomokri.org. God bless you.